What a way to start the season on anchor up the River Truro. Absolutely stunning. Goodbye to Falmouth. Goodbye to Myla. Goodbye to St. Mawes. Not quite pointing the right way for open ocean at the moment, but just making sure we don't get too close to Black Rock. And that's Shag Rock as we make our way out into the bay. And we've not just got a breeze, we've got 10 knots, which is awesome. On the nose right now. We're doing 4 knots at the moment because we're pitching a little bit close to it, a little bit too close. There we go. That's better. So let's have a quick look at what this passage today is going to pan out like. As you can see at the moment, we've got northeasterly wind, so we're making a track out into the English Channel. We are heading for here, either Plucky's Ground at Polkerris or here, either side of Foy. So, whoops, it might look like I could just come out to somewhere around here and tack and head up that way, but that's not going to happen, purely because the current is flowing this way, and when I tack I'll actually be heading almost due north until later this afternoon when the current starts to change. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep heading out. I haven't got any time constraints or anything like that, so I'll keep going out, and somewhere out here I'll tack and I'll be heading due north, and then gradually as the current drops I'll start to turn and head towards Foy. That's the plan anyway. And the wind has gone, which is not great with the tide in the wrong direction. Of course you can't plan for that. I'm now wondering whether it's because I've gone so far offshore, and if I go back towards shore there'll be more wind again, or if it's just because the wind was going to drop anyway. Let's wait a few minutes, have a cup of tea and see what happens. Well, it was worth having a cup of tea because the wind's back. Yay. Every good decision should be made off the back of a cup of tea. So that lull in the wind was actually heralding a shift. So it's gone from northeast to east, so I've tacked to head back in towards land. She always seems to go a bit quicker on the starboard tack as well. I don't know why. But that'll help us fight against the current a little bit. Well, the wind has continued to shift round, so it's now east-southeast, occasionally southeast, which means our course is directly towards where we want to be going, which is just awesome. Every now and then things just work out, and the best thing you can do is have a cup of tea. Still a little bit of bite to the wind. I know it's still only mid-April, but the sun's really strong. Sounds like someone's having problems.
We've got dolphins! Hey fellas! Passing Dodman Point with the course finally set for Polkerris. I decided to go in there because the wind has been more south than east, and it looks like it's probably going to stay like that for a few hours yet. So the swell is going to be coming, the wind waves are going to be coming from the wrong direction to go anywhere else. So I'm going to tuck in into Polkerris. The wind's supposed to shift to the north in the evening, 6 PM onwards. So it should be absolutely fine anywhere along the south coast then. So there we go. Possibly tomorrow I'll carry on along the south coast, find somewhere a little bit further along northerly winds. It would be nice to go in some anchorages along there that obviously I've not had the chance to explore. And there's dolphins everywhere. It's brilliant.
So we're about 10 minutes away. I've had a look at the tide. It's currently rising. It's at about 4.5 meters of tide over chart datum at the moment. So I'm going to drop the anchor in around 7 meters of water. It's fairly gently sloping here, so that should mean that if I swing south, because the wind's decided to be south instead of southeast or even east, or northwest as the Met Office suggested it was going to be, then I shouldn't end up going aground. I'll put down about 4 to 1, maybe 5 to 1 of scope, not expecting anything stronger than 10 knots in terms of wind, so that's probably a bit excessive, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of yachts there, so I shouldn't be struggling for swinging room. And here we are, anchored in 6.9 meters of water, given there's 4.5 meters at the moment of tide. It's going to drop by 3.5 meters. So even if I do drift into a shallower section behind me there, where the chart datum is 1.5 meters, I still have plenty of water under the keel. What an excellent day. Here's to the next 4 days of nice weather, in theory. Okay, let's play a little game. Let's call it the How Wrong Can the Inshore Forecast Be game. A bit of a long title, I'll have to come up with something better than that, but I have here in front of me my log for today. And in the log this morning, I wrote down the 0600 hours inshore forecast. Let's start with what it got right. It said sea state was going to be smooth or slight, which it absolutely was. It said that the weather was going to be fair, which, in all fairness, it absolutely was. 100% so far. It said visibility would be good, and it was. Okay, 3 out of 3. Next, the wind. So this morning it said was going to be variable, becoming northeast 3 or 4. And that was correct. I waited until 9 AM, the wind picked up, and it was from the northeast, and it was mostly 3. It did occasionally touch on 4, but not very often. It also said 5 for a time in the east. Well, we weren't in the east, so I can't comment on that one. But the wind. By midday, the wind was from southeast, and then south. And then for quite a lot of the afternoon, southwest. It was still 3 to 4, but southwest. Right now, it's 6 o'clock, and the wind is still coming from the south, which is making this anchorage slightly uncomfortable. However, not impossible. It's only 6 or 7 knots at the moment. If it does increase further from the south, then I've always got the option of going round and into the river, but for now, all is good. So everything was 100% apart from the wind direction, which was exactly 100% wrong. There we go. The difficulty is, of course, if you're sailing, choosing an anchorage for the night is completely dependent on the wind direction and wind strength. I was going to go into Atlantic Bay, but with the wind direction and the swell coming from the southeast, it simply wouldn't have been a very nice night. The wind strength isn't such an issue. I could have anchored there probably quite safely, but I would have not got much sleep. Rolling nights in an anchorage. What else can you do? Except watching Rebel Moon 2, of course. And maybe a little Jack Daniels and Coke. So, film's finished, and what little wind there is has finally come around to the north. So the stern is into the waves. Guess I can settle down for a decent night's sleep. Night owl.